A 70 kilogram sprinter, human sprinter, can accelerate from rest to 10 meters per second in 3 seconds. During the same time interval, a 30 kilogram Greyhound can accelerate from rest to 20 meters per second. What is the specific power of this sprinter? And what is the specific power of this Greyhound? All right. There's a couple things to keep in mind here. When they say from rest, that means the initial velocity is 0. And then when they say power to me, when I think of power, I think power equals work divided by time. And when they think of specific, that means per mass. So it's going to be divided by the mass. So that's why we have the per kilogram right there. All right, so what we really need to do is we need to find the work done. So that's what we're going to start with. So for the work done by the sprinter, we're going to do conservation of energy. So this is going to be our picture. Sprinter, the first scenario is going to be the sprinter's right here with velocity equals 0, say initial velocity. And then it's going to be a situation of the sprinter over here. I don't know why the sprinter's head got smaller. Not important. Velocity final equals 10. And the difference between these two is going to be 3 seconds. Okay, so now we got that. So we can say that energy kinetic initial plus energy potential initial equals energy kinetic final plus energy potential final. And then we're going to find out, so we have our initial energy, we add some amount of work to it, and that added work is going to give us our final speed. So this is what we're going to use. So this right here, conservation of energy, and those aren't going to equal each other, and the difference between the two is going to be the work that we added. So this is the formula we get. If for some reason you do this and you get a negative value for work here, we know that we just put the W on the wrong side, because we know that we ended up with more energy than we started with, so we had to have a positive work added. That's just the idea. I focus less on the formula here and more on making the formula make sense to reality. Otherwise, if you just blindly follow the formula, it's too much risk and there's a good chance you make a mistake. All right. So he doesn't go up or down, so potential energy stays the same. He starts from rest, so its initial kinetic energy is going to be 0 because kinetic energy is energy based on motion. So the work done is going to be 1/2 mv final squared, which is going to be 1/2 mass, which is 70, times velocity final, which is 10. Yes. Yep. 10 meters per second squared. And I think the mass might end up canceling out. So that's work. I think the mass will end up canceling out, but I don't care. I'm going to calculate everything anyway. So we're going to do 0.5 times 70 times 10 squared. And that gives us 3,500. So there's 3,500 joules done. Therefore, power is going to be work divided by time, which in this case is going to be 3. So it's going to equal 3,500 divided by 3, which will be about 1,200. Divided by 3. And that's 1167. And that's going to be watts. And then specific power, I'm going to call that specific power sprinter is going to be power divided by mass, which is going to be 1167 divided by 70. Let's see if this gives us a real number again, a whole number. Nope, 16.7. 16.7, and that's going to be watts per kilogram. So 16.7. So then we're going to do the same thing with the Greyhound. And so for the Greyhound, work is going to be 1/2 times the mass, which is 30. Actually sounds heavy for a Greyhound. I don't know. Maybe it's fine. And then it's going to be 20 squared. So this value should be about twice as much. So 0.5 times 30 times 20 squared, we get 6,000. So then we're going to do power equals work divided by time. Time is 3 seconds, so it's going to be 6,000 divided by 3, which is 2,000. And then specific power Greyhound is going to be 2,000. It's going to be power divided by mass, which is 2,000 divided by 30, which is going to give us, divided by 3, that gives us 2,000, divided by 30, that gives us 66.7. So 66.7 watts per kilogram. Therefore, the specific power by the Greyhound is greater than the specific power delivered by the Sprinter. Yep, that seems reasonable. So this isn't too bad. A lot of this is dimensional analysis to kind of backtrack and look at what we did here. We found the work done, the energy needed to go from 0 to a given speed. We then convert that by power, because power is work divided by time, or energy divided by time. Gives us watts, which is the same as joules per second. And then we turned that into a specific power. Specific power just means power per unit mass. And so we just divided by the mass of either the human or the Greyhound. We could have followed it through and seen that the mass would cancel. Not important. If you have time, you can put in the mass and then take it out. Whichever way you think you'll make fewer mistakes. So, hope that helped. See you in the next one.